Today we're going to talk about indicating location of objects. So when we're talking about the location of something, we need to use our verb estar. This is why we learned how to conjugate the irregular verb yesterday. In chapter 2b, you guys saw that a lot of the vocabulary terms said on top of, underneath of, besides, below. All of those prepositions indicate where an object is in relation to another object. As we learned yesterday, Estar talks about location. So let's go ahead and look at the preposition. So what a preposition is, the prepositions from our chapter, and then I'm going to give you guys a few examples. Today we are going to practice indicating location of objects so that we can describe a classroom. So first, prepositions are used to indicate a relationship between two words or phrases. They are often used to indicate relationships of location. So remember, your prefix pre suggests that prepositions precede the word or words that they link together. For most cases, prepositions are used the same way in Spanish as they are in English. Let's go ahead and look at our prepositions in chapter 2b. So we have our preposition al lado de la or del, which means next to or besides. Debajo de la or del, which is underneath. Delante de la or del, which is in front of. Detrás de la or del, behind. Encima de la or del, on top of. So looking at our prepositions, you guys notice in all of them, they say de la or del. So why do we think this is? This is because depending on what the noun preceding is, so if our noun is feminine, for example, the word silla or chair, we would use de la. Now, if the noun following the preposition was masculine, for example, escritorio, that is masculine, we would say del. So again, we will use de la or del depending on the gender of the noun following the preposition. Now we're going to look at 3 examples. The first one, the computer is on top of the desk. So here in our picture, we can see if we're describing 2 different objects in the relations between the computer and the desk, we would say that the computer is on top of it. Notice I have is in purple. This is going to be our verb estar. On top of is our preposition. So let's look at the example sentence in Spanish. So we would say, la computadora está encima del escritorio. Again, la computadora está encima del escritorio. Keep in mind, está should have an accent on the A. All right, since we're talking about one computer, that's why we are using the singular form of estar, está. Again, there should be an accent on that A. Then we're just going to use our vocabulary term to say on top of. So that preposition from your vocab terms is encima. Now we need to look at the word escritorio. Is that masculine or is that feminine? It's ending in an O, which is telling us it is masculine, so we are going to use del. All right, our next example. The waste paper basket is next to the table. Again, is going to be our verb estar. Next to is our preposition. So we are talking about the relationship between the waste paper basket and the table. So we would say that they are next to one another. So looking at your vocabulary, we would say la papelera or the waste paper basket. Since we are talking about one basket, we are going to conjugate estar to the el, ella, usted form or the third person singular. That would be está. Then we're going to use our vocabulary term for next to, which is al lado. Then we are going to look at our word for table. Table is mesa. So since that is a feminine noun, we are going to choose de la. So, la papelera está al lado de la mesa. And our last example, the backpack is underneath the chair. Again, we are talking about two different items, the relationship to where the backpack is dependent on the chair. So looking at our picture, you guys can see our backpack is underneath. So in Spanish, we would say la mochila está debajo de la silla. Again, estar is conjugated to está because we are talking about one backpack. To say underneath, it's debajo de. Then we have to look, is our word for chair masculine or feminine? Silla is feminine, therefore we would use de la. So, la mochila está debajo de la silla. So that is it as far as using prepositions. So they aren't too difficult. I just wanted to explain how we use them in relation to describe one object versus another and to talk about our verb estar. So now we are going to go ahead and practice that with our vocabulary terms.